Hello friends, today I will explain to you how we can make egg-free Kesar Badam Gulabjamun cake. This cake is on high demand always, and I get many customers coming back for the same cake. Since I get regular orders, you might know that this cake is really very good with real ingredients going inside. So let's see what all are the ingredients going inside to this, making this egg free Kesar Badam cake. Here I am using a 200 ml measuring cup, and here I have 1 cup plain flour or maida along with 1 tablespoon of corn flour. Then here I have milk powder, use full cream milk powder around 3 tablespoons, which is around quarter cup, which is around 30 grams. All the weight and the measurements are given in the ingredient list. Then I have around half cup of fine sugar. You may use normal sugar if you want to. Then I have half cup of yogurt. Then for the original flavor, you are going to use 2 tablespoons of clarified butter or ghee, which can be at room temperature. And then I have 10 pieces of roasted almonds for the rich flavor, then 4 pieces of cardamom and few strands of saffron. So I'm using the original stuff. Then I have a pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon baking powder and half teaspoon of baking soda. Then here I have around quarter cup of full cream milk, which I'll be using for mixing, and some hot water which I'll be using while mixing the dough depending on the flour consistency. So let's get started. Here I am using 2 6-inch pans which I will grease with the ghee and line the bottom with parchment paper or the baking paper. This is for easy removal. So here I am going to powder cardamom and the saffron first. I have already put them in the mortar and pestle along with 1 tablespoon of sugar from the ingredient list. So first I will powder that and then add the almonds. So the one in the bowl is just for demonstration, but I already had the cardamom seeds removed and the saffron inside the mortar and pestle. So in a clean mixing bowl, add in the yogurt and the sugar, and using a hand whisk you are going to fully incorporate the sugar into the yogurt. So if you have large granulated sugar, you may powder and add it. Then I am adding in the 2 tablespoons of the ghee. This gives a rich original flavor for the Kesar Badam sponge. If you are going to use oil, you won't get the rich flavor. This is a very little quantity, so try to use ghee itself. Now mix to combine very well and beat until you don't see any sugar crystals. Now I am going to add the milk and then whisk again. So this is a simple recipe which you will directly add all the ingredients, but the end product is very spongy and flavorful and with a light yellow color of the saffron. Now using a sifter, I am going to sift in the 1 cup of plain flour and the 1 tablespoon of corn flour, and I will add the milk powder. I am using full cream milk powder, and if you are a baker taking regular orders for egg free cakes, try to buy full cream milk and keep it as always in hand. Then I am adding the baking powder, soda and the salt, and give the mixture a good mix with a spoon so that you evenly incorporate. You may even sift it into a baking paper and then sift it back. I usually do it this way, direct mixing. Then I am adding in the powdered almonds, saffron and the cardamom. So here in the market there are artificial flavors available for Kesar Badam. You may use that, but I always go for the original stuff, which gives a totally different kick to the recipe. Okay, now I'm adding in hot water. It's not boiling water, it's just hot water. I'm just mixing in depending on how much the consistency of the batter you're looking for. So you want a free flowing batter like this. I'm checking for the salt and the sweetness and adding a bit more of water. So this recipe I got around 500 grams of batter, which I equally divided between the 2 6-inch pans. Okay, I have already preheated the oven at 180 degrees for 10 minutes, and once I keep the pan, I will reduce the temperature to 160 degrees and bake for around 20 to 25 minutes depending. You can check with the skewer if it comes out clean, or if it's not done, you can bake further for around 5 more minutes. So mine got done at around 25 minutes at 160 degrees. See how spongy the cake is. Now we are cooling it completely for around 1 hour. Then we will proceed to the frosting. So this was a half kilo gulab jamun cake. I had uploaded the recipe for the gulab jamun. You may watch it. And now I am adding 1 cup of whipping cream. To that I will crush few almonds and few kesar or saffron and the cardamom seeds in the mortar and pestle. I am not using any sugar. Then I have for garnishing around 10 to 15 pieces of almonds, few pistachios, saffron and rose petals, which I had washed, dried for around 2 days to prepare dried rose petals. Okay, so we are going to start the preparation, and for the soaking we will be using the syrup from the gulab jamun. The remaining gulab jamun I'll be using. Here I have around 1 tablespoon of condensed milk, which I will add to the whipping cream, which give the sweetness. Already it is full of the stuff filling will be gulab jamun, so I am using very little condensed milk. Then I am adding around 1 tablespoon of rose water. Now this is the gulab jamun syrup which I will be using to soak the cakes, and these are the gulab jamuns. The recipe I will provide in the description box below. Okay, so first I am going to powder the saffron and the cardamom seeds, and using a hand beater, electric beater, I am going to beat at very low speed. This recipe is a bit elaborate because I want to explain how you can achieve sharp edges using a simple method. So you can see, once I get a semi stiff dough, I will add in the powdered cardamom and the saffron. This the color and the flavor will come out gradually as the cream sets in. You immediately will not see the yellow tinge coming in, but later once the cake sets, the color will change slightly because of the saffron going inside. Okay, so I am beating it again until you see a bit of the cream becomes a bit firm, not over firm, but because if you overbeat, the cream will be dry once you start decorating the cake. Okay, now I am going to start decorating the cake. I am just mixing in with the help of a spatula. I am using a 10-inch cake board, a 12-inch cake board. Now I am taking off the parchment paper from the bottom, placing the cake. This is a 6-inch cake, and I am going to wet the cake with the gulab jamun syrup. This is the original saffron and the rose water syrup, that is why it is slightly yellowish in color. No color is added. Okay, so place a dollop of cream, and using a palette knife or a spatula, you are going to evenly distribute and place few jamuns. You can see how juicy the jamuns are. Do try the recipe out. It is using atta or wheat flour and milk powder. Do try the recipe. In the description box below I will give the link for the jamuns. These are really good jamuns, even better than the one you get outside. It's very simple. So I'm just cleaning up the cake board, any crumbs that have fallen. Then I am placing the next layer of the Kesar Badam egg free sponge, and I am leveling the cake. I will go around and see if the cake is in the correct alignment. Then I will brush with the syrup from the gulab jamun again, and we will proceed with the frosting. Now I will keep a large dollop of the Kesar cardamom milk frosting on top of it, and it's a very large big dollop, and then we will go around using the spatula. Once you see it is flat on top, you will go to the sides and smoothen the sides as you see in the video. So for around half kilo of cake, you need around 200 ml to 250 ml of whipping cream. Here I am using non-dairy whipping cream with condensed milk. Now I am switching on to a plastic scraper. This makes life easier than using a spatula, because once you use spatula you are applying more pressure on the cream. If you are using a plastic scraper, you don't apply much pressure. You can easily do the smoothing out. You can see it can be done in like 3 minutes. You can finish off the smoothing, achieve sharp edge within 3 minutes. Okay, in between I will use a spatula to scrape off the excess cream on the top. I Actually, gulab jamun, rasmalai cakes, etc. doesn't need a sharp edge or a flat top, because you will be arranging with all the jamuns and the rasmalai and you won't be seeing, but the edges must be a bit sharp. Okay, so I'm going again around with the plastic scraper and smoothing with the spatula. So in less than 3 minutes you can easily achieve the flat top and a sharp edge. So I am switching between the plastic scraper and the spatula and scraping off the excess cream in between and returning it to the mixing bowl in which I had the whipping cream. Okay, now I am doing a final touch up. That's it. Now I will set this. I was actually in a hurry. This cake was a last minute order, so I'm just decorating it directly. I didn't have much time. I'm adding in a pink color into the piping bag along with the cream directly and squeezing so that the color evenly distributes. I'm not using any mixing bowl. This is a simple method you can easily achieve. You need not have to wash all the utensils. Okay, I'm piping the pattern. The nozzle I used was, I think it's 2B. Okay, create patterns and then top off with the gulab jamuns. I have sliced, because these are large gulab jamuns, I have sliced into 2 and placed around. So for half kilo I usually provide around 6 to 8 jamuns per cake. And these are homemade, so you can easily give them 6 to 8 jamuns. Okay, and using a star tip I'm just decorating the borders like this. I just placed it on top of the other nozzle. Easy method. This cake was decorated like in 2 hours from start to end. If you have enough time, you can pre-bake the eggless sponge the day before. This was a last minute order. I just did it on the same day. Okay, now we will garnish off with the sliced pistachios, almonds and the saffron strands. Do try the recipe and let me know your feedbacks and comment how this eggless Kesar Badam sponge came out to be. It's totally delish, and the flavor of the Kesar, Badam and the cardamom really mingles. After, you need to set the cake for at least 4 hours for the flavors to infuse very well. Okay, so I am decorating the sides with more chopped almonds and pistachios, and the cake is done in less than 2 hours. Do let me know your doubts. If you have, please comment below. I am ready to help you. I am decorating it with the dried rose petals. These rose petals I had washed thoroughly for like 2-3 running water and then dried in the sun. Remove the petals and then dried in the sun for 2 days. These are edible roses. Okay, so here our cake is done. Half kilo eggless rasmalai. Half kilo eggless gulabjamun cake. So I'm decorating the sides with more slices of gulabjamuns. There are many designs. You can just follow whatever you like to. Stay connected and do let me know your feedbacks. Thank you and take care. Bye.